Right from the start.
The trailer sets a dark, moody tone, showing us the sun-drenched hills of early 1900s Sicily, dirt roads winding through olive groves, stone villages perched on cliffs, and narrow alleyways filled with shadows and whispers. This isn't just another gangster story. This feels like a deep dive into the roots of the Mafia, the old traditions, the codes of honor, the betrayals, and the blood debts that shaped the criminal underworld, long before it reached America. The main character, Enzo Favara, looks like a fascinating protagonist. From what the trailer shows, he's not some over-the-top,
larger-than-life figure. He's a young man caught between duty,
family, and ambition, trying to carve out his place in the Torrisi crime family. His journey seems deeply personal, and the trailer hints at the struggles he'll face. Loyalty to his blood family versus
loyalty to the crime family.
Love versus power, survival versus morality. It's clear the developers are aiming for a grounded, character-driven narrative.
And honestly, I'm here for it.
One of the biggest surprises for me was the announcement that Mafia, the old country, is not an open-world game. That's right, unlike Mafia 2 or Mafia 3, this game is returning to a more linear,
narrative-focused structure. And I think that's a smart move.
Sometimes open-world games stretch themselves too thin, padding out the experience with filler content. Here, the focus seems to be on telling a tightly woven story with deliberate pacing, rich character moments, and meaningful missions. The combat shown in the trailer is gritty and realistic. We see quick flashes of brutal knife fights, old-school revolvers being fired in dark alleys, and tense standoffs in candlelit churches. The emphasis isn't on flashy, Hollywood-style action, but on the raw, dangerous feel of early Mafia life. You can tell the devs at Hangar 13 have worked hard to capture the atmosphere of the time. The weapons, the clothing, the settings, even the body language of the characters all feel authentic to that era. Another thing that stood out is how alive the world looks. Even though it's not open world, the Sicilian towns and countryside are bustling with life. The trailer shows farmers tending fields, fishmongers shouting at the market,
families gathered for feasts,
and musicians playing traditional tunes in the village square. It gives me hope that the game world will feel immersive and reactive, with NPCs that don't just stand around but live and breathe within this world. The visuals are stunning. The lighting in particular blew me away. Golden sunlight,
streaming through church windows,
lanterns flickering in the night, the pale glow of the moon over cobblestone streets. Combined with the detailed textures and expressive character models, the game looks like it's pushing the limits of this generation's hardware. I also have to praise the voice acting and the sound design. The trailer features both English and Italian dialogue,
and it's done beautifully.
The accents feel genuine, the emotional weight comes through in every line, and the musical score ties it all together perfectly. The use of traditional Sicilian instruments gives the game a unique sonic identity, setting it apart from other crime games that lean too heavily on jazzy, American-inspired tunes. The trailer hints at some intriguing story beats. We see Enzo dealing with rivals within the Torrisi family, navigating power struggles, and facing moral choices that could shape his fate. There's also a glimpse of a love interest, as well as older mentors who might guide or betray him. It's clear this game is going to explore not just violence and power, but family, loyalty, and the cost of ambition. What really caught my eye, though, were the little environmental details. The way villagers glance over their shoulders when the mob walks by, the tension during a silent dinner when someone might be plotting betrayal, the haunting sound of church bells as a body is buried at dawn. These small touches make the world feel alive and steeped in history. You can tell Hangar 13 has taken lessons from the past games and is applying them with more maturity and focus here. I was also impressed by the historical depth the trailer teases. It's not just about the Mafia
as an organization, but the world it
grew out of, the poverty, the corruption, the sense of injustice that pushed ordinary people into crime. There are hints that the game will touch on larger social issues of the time, like the struggles between landowners and peasants, the power of the Catholic Church, and the rising tension with law enforcement. It's the kind of backdrop that could elevate this from a simple crime story into a full-blown historical drama. Gameplay-wise, I noticed there's an emphasis on stealth and strategy. The trailer shows Enzo sneaking through vineyards, eavesdropping on rivals,
and using bribes or blackmail instead of brute force.
That makes me excited because it suggests multiple ways to approach missions. Maybe you can go in guns blazing, or maybe you can outsmart your enemies. This choice-driven gameplay would add a lot of replay value and make the experience feel more personal. I'm also curious about the relationships Enzo will build throughout the game. Will we get to influence how loyal he is to certain family members or associates? Will there be betrayals that we can prevent or cause? The trailer hints at tense alliances and rivalries, but it's not clear yet how much player choice will factor into the branching storylines. If Hangar 13 leans into that, this could be one of the most emotionally gripping Mafia games we've ever seen. Another thing that stood out to me is the visual attention to period detail. The clothes, the architecture, the old carriages and early automobiles, everything screams authenticity. Even the way characters move feels slower, more deliberate,
Matching the time period rather than feeling like a modern action game reskin for the past.
That kind of immersion is rare.
And if the full game keeps this up,
It could be an unforgettable experience.
I can't help but think about how this game will compare to previous Mafia entries.
Mafia Definitive Edition set a really high bar with its incredible remake of the original, and Mafia 2 still holds a special place in many fans' hearts. But this prequel is charting entirely new territory.
Telling a story that's rarely explored in gaming.
It's not about the rise of the Mafia in America. It's about where it all began, in the old country where honor, family, and survival were everything. That alone makes this feel fresh and exciting. Overall, the trailer left me incredibly hyped for Mafia, the old country. It's moody, stylish, and packed with narrative promise. If the final game delivers on even half of what the trailer suggests, we're looking at a masterpiece in the making.
I can't wait to see more, to learn about the characters.
To dive into the dark, sunlit streets of Sicily, and to experience a Mafia story that feels both epic and deeply personal. Hangar 13 might just have something truly special on their hands. What excites me about Mafia, the old country, is how it seems to focus on a slower, more deliberate narrative. The game isn't rushing into constant action but looks set to take its time, building tension and exploring the characters' motivations and struggles. Enzo's journey appears to be full of tough choices, especially with the theme of survival in a world that's constantly testing his loyalty and morality. It's the kind of story I'm craving, one that's personal and emotional, rather than just another action-packed adventure. The setting of Sicily is another major highlight. Its rich history and stunning landscapes are the perfect backdrop for this Mafia tale. The trailer showcases beautiful environments, from sun-drenched hills to ancient villages, and this immersive world gives the game a real sense of place. It's not just a backdrop, it's part of the story. Enzo's moments of indecision in the trailer also intrigued me. There's this weight of choice, a feeling that his decisions will have lasting consequences, which adds a lot of depth to the story. It looks like the developers are going to focus on the human side of crime, not just the shootouts and action
Scenes, but the moral dilemmas and the
emotional cost of living in such a dangerous world. The game seems to be setting itself apart from other Mafia titles by diving into the psychological aspects of its characters and their struggles. If Mafia, the old country, delivers on these promises, it could be a standout in the series, offering a more thoughtful and immersive experience. I'm looking forward to seeing how this deep, character-driven narrative plays out.